We are back home from the Thierbach Farms and Orchards, and I've rinsed all of the blueberries, and some of them had stems. Picked those stems off. So this is 7 cups of blueberries. This is going to be to make blueberry pie filling. This is 8 cups of blueberries. This is going to make blueberry syrup. And then this is probably around 4 cups. I didn't measure this. This was the extra. So this is going to go in the fridge for my husband to snack on. And also I need a cup to make blueberry muffins, but I will make those tomorrow morning. I'm not going to do a video on that. Standard blueberry muffin recipe. You can use fresh blueberries for blueberry muffins. It doesn't have to be dried. So tomorrow for breakfast, we will be having fresh blueberry muffins. But I'm going to get started on this. I'm going to start with the blueberry pie filling. This is 8 cups of hand-picked blueberries from Thierbach Farm, and this I am going to make blueberry syrup out of. So the first step is to take your 8 cups of blueberries, put them in the pot that you're going to boil them in, and gently mash them because you want to squeeze out the juice. So I'm going to put 8 cups into this pot, and then you add 2 cups of water and 1 tablespoon of lemon zest. Combine that in that pot and then bring it to a gentle boil for 5 minutes. And then after it is done boiling, you're going to strain it. I have these strainers. I have 3 different sizes. This one works perfectly. It fits right on top of my stock pot because all my other pots are low, and this wouldn't work because you need room for the juice to drain, to drip out. And so, and then I also have cheesecloth. So I'm gonna line this with the cheesecloth, and then we'll pour the blueberry mixture into this, and then it will drain. The recipe says drain it for 2 hours. I am following this recipe that I got from my favorite ball canning book, and I will have a link down below. But yeah, I get most of my recipes from the ball canning book. I think pretty much every year they have a new version, but I'll link down below the one that is my absolute favorite, the one I use the most. So let me get started by mashing down my blueberries. I actually have a potato masher. If you don't have a potato masher, you can just mash them down with a big spoon. As I make a loud noise. All right, this is the crushed blueberries, and then a tablespoon of lemon zest and 2 cups of water. So now I bring it to a gentle boil for 5 minutes. It smells really good. On this blueberry syrup, this particular recipe did not call for blue dye, but some people use blue dye to make it prettier. And the blueberry pie filling recipe I'm going to do later does recommend blue dye. I absolutely will not be using blue dye. Personally, blue dye does not affect my husband's digestive system very well. I don't know if he's allergic to it or what, but through experience, we do not like blue dye. So it doesn't hurt me at all, but it does hurt my husband. And so out of respect for him, so he can actually eat this stuff, I'm okay with it being darker. It doesn't need to be like bright blue like my nails, you know what I'm saying? So I do actually have food coloring, so I do have it if I need it, but I just talked to my husband about it, and we both agree that we're not going to use the blue dye. All right, it's been boiling for 5 minutes, and it is actually a nice, beautiful red color. And so now I am going to strain it and let it drip strain for 2 hours. That's what the recipe calls for. I don't know that it's even, I don't even know why that's necessary because this cooked down really well, but I don't know. Let's see how it strains. All right, it's in the strainer. I'm just gonna let it sit here. I think the reason we just want it to drip is because I've seen a couple people mention in videos that if you push the fruit through, that it could make your syrup cloudy. So we will just let it drip naturally. And oh my gosh, sorry, I just noticed I have spots all over this shirt. It's my favorite Atari shirt too. something tells me this stuff is not gonna come out, but oh well, I can get plenty of use out of it. So yeah, be careful with splatter. Look at all that little splatter. All right, it is 1:54. I'll come back at 4 o'clock. I really should invest in an apron. Look at that. Something tells me those splatters are not gonna come out of my shirt. I'm gonna start working on the blueberry pie filling. So this is 7 cups of blueberries, 2/3 cup of Clear Jel. If you're not familiar with Clear Jel, it's a like cooking pie starch. So I don't think all stores carry it. I got mine online off of Amazon, and I just bought a bigger container. And it's if you're gonna can any pie fillings, you really need this Clear Jel powder. So and it wasn't, I don't think it was a crazy price. I think I paid like $12 for this. And I've done cherry pie filling, pecan pie filling, and now I'm doing blueberry pie filling, and I still have half of a container left. And then of course sugar. It's only 1 2/3 cup sugar. I say only because I've been making a bunch of jellies lately, and jellies take a lot of sugar. And then it also is 1 teaspoon of lemon zest, which that will be added later, and then 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. You can use the bottled lemon juice, but since I have a fresh lemon for the lemon zest, I will just use the fresh lemon. And this is going to make 4 pint jars. Well, that's what it says. But remember, this doesn't always work out. So I always sanitize a couple extra jars. So I think I actually have 6 jars I've already washed, and they're in the water bath canner getting warmed up. And then the first step is to blanch these blueberries. So I'm just gonna boil some hot water and then blanch them in the hot water for 1 minute. All right, I just blanched the blueberries, said keep them warm, so I'm putting this lid on it. Now I'm going to take the sugar, the Clear Jel, and 2 cups of water and whisk it together over high heat until the mixture thickens and bubbles. Once the sugar, water, and Clear Jel starts to boil and thicken, take it off the heat and fold in the blueberries. It looks really good. So I did skip the step of adding the food coloring, so this definitely looks red instead of blue, but I just wanted to go the natural way. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't know if this was this video or my blueberry syrup video, blue dye does not agree with my husband, and so the blue dye is optional if you want to use it to make your blueberries look blue, but I am not doing that because I want it, like I said, I want it to be natural, and blue dye does not agree with my husband. All right, I got my hot jars, and now I'm going to fill each one with a 1-inch headspace. All right, it did make exactly 4 jars. I did just wipe the rims, and it a little more than 1-inch headspace, which it required, because I think with pie fillings, it's gonna bubble up, and we're actually water bath canning it for 30 minutes. Jelly is usually like 10, so with your water bath canning it longer, there's a chance of like overflow, and so that's why you need to have a good 1-inch head space. So I'm gonna get the lids and the rims on and stick this in the water bath canner for 30 minutes. All right, these are the 4 pint jars of blueberry pie filling. I'm definitely going to mark the lid what it is. I always do anyway, but if you were to just glance at these, it kind of looks like a dark cherry pie filling. But these are the blueberries. So now that's done, and I've had my blueberry juice straining, and so I am going to start the blueberry syrup. I also cover this with a towel. I saw some Food Network guy YouTube channel, he covers his just to maintain the temperature, so I started doing that because you don't want to touch them until they cool down 24 hours. They want the jars to pop so they're properly sealed. For the blueberry syrup, I'm taking 4 cups of water and 3 cups of sugar. bring it to a boil, stirring a lot while it dissolves. And then once it's to a nice rolling boil, add the blueberry juice that we've been straining for the last 2 hours. And then once it regains the rolling boil, boil it for 5 minutes, and then it'll be ready to add to the jars. It's supposed to also have lemon juice. I gotta read the instructions again. I remember when we add the lemon juice. We added the lemon zest earlier when we were making the blueberry juice. Let me look real quick. All right, so the very last step is to add the lemon juice. So right now we're boiling the water and the sugar, and then once we add the blueberry juice and we boil that for 5 minutes, when we take it off the heat, we stir in the lemon juice and then we ladle it into the jars. I added the juice. There is a lot of foam, so I'm gonna go ahead and add that half a stick of butter that everyone recommends to bring the foam amount down. I hope I didn't say stick. You just do like a half a teaspoon of butter, just like a dab. Real butter, not spreadable margarine. And that's supposed to help with the foam. So now I want this to come back to a rolling boil, and then at the rolling boil, I want to cook it for 5 minutes. The only thing I found peculiar about this recipe is it said add the blueberry juice. It didn't say like how much that 8 cups was supposed to make. I know when I made blackberry syrup and mulberry syrup, it was a lot more specific of how much juice you needed. So this one just said whatever juice you had. So, and it's supposed to make, I think, 3 pint jars, but I want to do jelly jars, which is half pint. And when I fill the jars, it's like a hodgepodge of jars, because I don't want to open a new case of jelly jars because I only have 1 left. So I just went through all my kitchen cupboards and found all my empty jelly jars, and they're like just different sizes and stuff, because like I get jars from my mom, I get jars from thrift stores, I keep jars when I like buy you know, specialty food items when I'm traveling. So I got all kinds of jars, and I really needed to make sure I had plenty, so they're all like crazy different sizes, or not size, they're all like half pint, they're just different shapes and stuff. All right, there is a lot of foam and a lot of syrup, so I'm definitely gonna skim off the foam. Usually like when you skim off the foam, you end up like losing some of your product because you get some of your syrup too, but I'm not gonna worry about it because I have plenty of syrup and I just don't want the foam. So I have 6 jelly jars. I am debubbling them right now, and then I am going to wipe the rims and then put the lids on and water bath can them for 10 minutes. This jar I'm not. This is the extra. This is just a jar I have. It's a different type of lid. I've used it before. I'm pretty sure these are one-time use, so when I reuse this one, I just use it to store stuff in the fridge. So it definitely made more syrup than I was expecting. I ran out of jelly jars, and so I have these 2, but I didn't want to put the syrup in it because I just thought it would be awkward to pour it out of these wide mouths. So these are technically jelly jars, it's just they're wide mouth. I'll save them for something else. So I have 6 blueberry syrups, and then this will go into the fridge to use first. I don't need to debubble that. Let me debubble these, and then I'll get them in the water bath canner for 10 minutes. Here are the 6 jars of blueberry syrup. This is the jar for the fridge. I'm just not going to put it in the fridge until it cools down. It's still extremely warm. 2 of these already popped. Robert did a taste test and he said it tasted just like blueberries. So very happy with the syrup. We're big waffle eaters, so blueberry syrup on waffles sounds absolutely delicious.